All right. Happy Tuesday, everyone. We are here starting out Roadwarden. I don't know if it's loud on your guys' end. It's really loud on my end, but I can't turn that down yet. I guess I can kill it a little bit. Anyway, yeah, I have not played this yet. It's actually something I picked up because I thought it would be interesting for streaming, because it's kind of more of a story-driven. I think those are pretty fun. It's almost a text-based adventure. I mean, it might be considered one, but anyway, I figured we'd jump into it and see how it goes. I literally booted it up and thought the music was decent enough to just leave running, and this is what you boot up to. So we marvel at the serenity of the forest and crave the shroud of its silence. Oh no. Welcome to Roadwarden's anniversary patch. Improves a few stories and bits of interface, but sadly it won't work well with the old saves. Okay. Thank you so much for giving my game a chance. For your bug reports, editing tips, and gameplay suggestions. Thank you for making Roadwarden what it is now. Arius. Oh, well. Sounds like it might have been made by only one guy, which I did not know. Sometimes those are treasures, because that's basically Stardew Valley is. Labor of love. Alright. This should be fine level for me. I assume the music is just background for you guys now. Attitudes. That's kind of neat. I like that aesthetically, but it's probably easier for everyone else to actually read it like that. Let's see. I assume we'll get most of this just playing. Alright. New game. Everyone knows to stay away from the wilderness. Most people would never risk a lonely journey. Roadwardens not only accept the struggle, they embrace it. They deliver messages, assist merchants, burn human corpses, and, if possible, get rid of the beasts and highwaymen. They live on the road, die young, or retire early. It's a dangerous job, but a respectable one, and it pays well. I leave the safety of this... Well, actually, let's see. I still have my doubts. Oh, it just goes back. Okay. I leave the safety of the city walls. I mean, I kind of feel just standard. I'm kind of worried how harsh it actually is going to be, but let's advance the options. Oh, it just allows you to tailor it a little bit more. Let's just do standard. The wall is still standing. There are no wolves around. No stench of blood. Good signs. This should be the place you're looking for. You were supposed to meet with a group of soldiers, but you hear no voices, no sounds of labor. The gate is ajar, but the camp isn't safe. It may keep away the goblins and pebblers, but not beast folk, nor trolls. And the night is near. Your palfrey breathes heavily. It has been a long day. I need to look around cautiously. Considering the noise, you doubt that anyone noticed the clatter of hooves. The short, dry grasses barely cover the arid soil of this valley, but you're maybe a minute away from the edge of the sparse woods, which get denser as they climb up the hills. At best, this trail has a few more years before getting overgrown for good. Hard to believe it's the only route north. I dismount and sneak to the gate. Let's peek inside. Your heavy boots hit the ground, and the pain of the long ride finally catches up with you. You stretch out, bringing your back and legs comfort. All you want now is a table, a decent chair, and a nice mug of beer. And some worms, too. With any luck, your axe won't be needed here. I approach the gate slowly. Oh, okay, hang on. Take care of yourself. If you're hurt or exhausted, some actions won't be available to you. The weaker you are, the higher the chance you'll die in combat. Okay. I approach the gate slowly. If it's a military camp, it doesn't look the part. Plenty of wasted space. The fire pit is cold. Two people are sitting at the table, tired and disheartened. They're looking in different directions, paying no attention to one another. One of them is holding a cup. After a moment, you notice the quiet humming. You recognize the melody of a light-hearted drinking song from the city harbor. They don't look like much of a threat. I can enter. It takes him a few breaths to glance in your direction. The first person greets you with a wave of his hand. There are bags under his eyes. His beard is messy. Despite his simple shirt, he's wearing durable, decent boots. A mace with a head covered in iron hangs at his side, but he doesn't reach for it. I take a look at the second soul. Just like you, she's wearing a gambeson, but hers is a bit loose, as if she took it off a corpse. Her head is shaven, as if she's protecting herself from flesh-eating bugs. Her eyes are wary, yet kind. She smiles. Considering the squad was sent here half a year ago, these two surely look the part. But there should be more of them. 8, you believe. I let them speak first. It's nice to see an unharmed traveler in this godforsaken shithole. Makes me just a tiny bit hopeful. The bearded man's voice is strong yet timid. You'll be staying the night with us, I guess. We're soldiers, he and I, added the armored woman. Her voice switches from half asleep to relaxed. We'll do our best to keep the camp safe, but if you were to take the first watch, it would be a huge help. Travelers ought to help each other, wouldn't you say? You think for a moment. To fully rest, you need a good sleep. Ooh. Sure, leave it to me. Fantastic. She rubs her hands together. I don't remember the last time I had more than half a night of sleep. The hours before midnight should be the calmest. Just wake us up if anything happens. The man flashes you a wide smile. It's easy to wake us up. Just yell. He drinks from his mug. I ask them about their lieutenant. You wonder how to phrase your question. Friendly? Okay. Friendly, be supportive and cordial. Playful, use a joke or witty comment. Distance, hide your emotions. Intimidating, hint at a threat. Vulnerable, be sad, tired, afraid, or hopeless. I mean, they seem pretty friendly. We'll just stay with that. I was hoping to meet with your lieutenant. Can we talk for a bit? The woman lets out a loud sigh, dusts off her gambeson, and steps towards you. She pays little attention to the sword at her side. We most definitely can, you and I. Though holding this rank is still somewhat new to me. Are you a messenger? Did you lose your mount? She observes you with curiosity. Or are you looking for help? I'm your new Roadwarden. My horse is waiting outside. Really? The soldier in the shirt leans forward. That explains how you got here in one piece, all by yourself. Better bring your beast here, adds the lieutenant. We have no hay, but I bet it dreams of dropping its saddle. A long pause. I'm Tulia, by the way. She reaches out her hand. Would it be a trap, though? How do you want people to call you? Her grasp is confident. The shake is slight. Just keep your horse away from the tents. She steps away. We don't need to smell its dung. Ah, there's this one issue. The soldier in the shirt also rises to his feet. We've no tent to spare. You'll have to use a blanket or something. No problem. I enjoy observing the stars. You walk through the gate. Your mount looks around and snorts anxiously. Not many humans could ride a horse. It's not only taller than you, but also bulky, as heavy as it is strong. You can get in the saddle within a single breath, but most people wouldn't know where to even begin. From every side, it's a wall of flesh. Horses were brought to the Dragonwoods from the conquest in the south. They can trot for a long time, but won't outrun some of the local monsters. Your palfrey needs you to survive, but without it, you too would be lost. It's my only companion here. I want it to feel at ease. It takes a few steps towards you, scolding you with another snort. You scratch the bottom of its neck, with strength and confidence, just the way it likes it. Humans see useful animals, and even pets, as monsters in disguise. Getting emotionally attached to them is believed to lead humans to their doom. But you know that horses need companionship. I speak to it gently and lead it to the camp. You end up next to the fire pit. Removing the saddle makes the horse nicker with relief. You take a couple of minutes to examine its back, just in case. Well, the riding equipment is not that heavy for such a strong animal. With enough time, it starts to chafe. You wish it had something better to eat than this shabby grass. You should look for an inn. I need to unpack. You haven't brought that many things, and you lost one of the sacks while fleeing the Crimson Corpse Eaters. Worst of all, you have no rope left. Maybe the soldiers could share one. Shouldn't cost more than a dragon bone. Aside from the travel set, you own a few valuable possessions, essential for your trade. Ooh. Now I get to choose a class. Fighter. I spent my savings on decent combat equipment. I have a fine gambeson, an axe made of steel, and a reliable crossbow with quarrels. Mage. I have talismans that help me use my powers, as well as an iron axe and a worn gambeson. Scholar. I carry writing instruments and alchemical ingredients, as well as an iron axe, a worn gambeson, and a small healing potion. Yeah, we'll learn more. As a fighter, you'll have an easier time in physical challenges thanks to your superior equipment and hidden bonuses during dice rolls. You'll be physically more capable than the other classes, what opens unique opportunities during some social interactions. It's the best class for RPG beginners. The fighter's weakness is their reliance on physical strength. Your special abilities won't be available to you if your vitality points drop to 0. The mage uses Pneuma, a versatile but limited pool of energy points that can be spent to cast a few humble spells. Magic won't protect you better than a sharp axe, but as a mage, you'll be able to heal faster while resting, detect magic in a mysterious area, distract a beast with a simple trick, and find a common tongue with other magic users. Using the mage's powers too freely will result in having no Pneuma left when you need it most. Scholar will know more about the world's mysteries than you, helping you take advantage of some unusual situations. Your character will impress the locals with its knowledge, and you'll be able to read the sparse written clues without anyone's assistance. Scholars struggle with combat more than the other classes, but with enough carefulness and exploration, you'll gain access to alchemical mixtures that will help you escape from many dangerous situations. Well, let's try fighter. Simple enough. All right. So armor 3 out of 4. Okay. Inventory to see your possessions. Okay. You unpack and inspect your belongings. Your water skin isn't pierced. The spare clothes are still here, just in case you take a look at your wooden bowl and mug. Your cape, tinderbox, bandages, food rations, knife. Nothing special or too cumbersome. From time to time, your routine helps you avoid mistakes, but this doesn't make it any more exciting. I return to the soldiers. They're at the table again, observing your beasts and chatting between themselves. Your stomach growls at the sight of them eating out of wooden bowls. One more bowl was put at a previously unused end of the table. You can sit down on a tree log. I join them and take a look at the meal. It's cold gruel, the meal eaten in times of hardship. This specific bowl is filled with water, hog millet, some strange-looking cereals, and blueberries. Welcoming you with a meal, even a humble one, is beyond their duty. Soldiers live with and for their companions, constantly on the move from one part of the realm to another, making sacrifices to protect their group as they face dozens of hideous creatures. Their lives are filled with discipline, hardship, and camaraderie. Roadwardens, on the other hand, learn how to work by themselves. They seldom engage in open combat, patrolling the same roads for years. They help the settlement stay in touch, but also maintain commerce, settle down, forge friendships. When there are no laws to follow, they use their own judgment. Different responsibilities, different lifestyles. I eat quickly, not focusing on the taste, then speak with Tulia. She's focused and chooses her words carefully. She looks away only when she gathers her thoughts. I'm afraid I can tell you less than I would like to, and less than I should. She nods towards the other soldier. As you can see, there's not a lot of us left. At the beginning of summer, there were 8 of us, including our previous lieutenant. 5 are dead, 1 has run away in tears. We're also strangers to this land, adds her companion. Any piece of information may help me do my job. The man leads forward, his legs shake nervously. He sounds like a kid asking a bard to sing one more story, tell a joke, or do a magic trick. Whatever it takes to escape from boredom. His untrimmed beard hides a much younger face than you originally thought. What do the officials tell you? I expect not that much. No soul governs these lands. I share what I consider to be relevant. You tell the soldiers how little guidance you've received. Since this area is too far away from Hovlevan to keep it under control. You were warned that it's untamed and unknown. Who knows how many villages, bandits, or monsters may be found in these unmapped hills and forests. From time to time, new people come here to look for boundless opportunities. Most of them never return. Do they turn into walking corpses, or find what they're looking for? No soul could tell me, so I was looking for your guidance. The lieutenant drinks from her cup and crosses her legs, ankle on knee. Sitting in her chair makes you doubt she'll ever find a comfortable position. Where should we start? Oh, questions. Okay. Well, let's start with making sure the horse is taken care of. I've lost my rope. Could you spare one? You're in luck. She heads towards one of the crates and moves aside a large linen sack, revealing a rope. She brings it back and nonchalantly sits down on her chair. Take it. I was planning to leave it behind. I take a closer look. A fine rope? Tulia nods. For now, you leave the rope on the table. So these two right here looks like they just further the story, I guess. Anything I should know about this camp? The story is brief. Some merchants built the camp to have an extra stop for mules and donkeys, just between the inn and the 7 villages. There's plenty of grass here and a pond nearby. When the peninsula grew more dangerous, the camp stood abandoned, from time to time serving as a shelter for travelers. The bandits came here in spring, further paralyzing the exchange of information between the northern and southern settlements. Since these highwaymen are no more, the situation may reverse. Time will tell. You can sleep here wherever you want, the man concludes their tale, though don't expect to wake up without getting pain in your back. What was your squad's mission? Lieutenant looks into your eyes. You know, the usual. Making the road safe, keeping people alive. I explain that it may be important for me to know what they have tried to accomplish. I can't really tell you. Let's just say it would be nice to have a reliable outpost somewhere nearby. A place where you can always find a group of fighters willing to protect you in the name of the law. She tilts her head back. Now, if you have any other questions... Okay, well, she probably can't tell me what happened to the squad. She became lieutenant because the other lieutenant's gone. What should I know about the peninsula? I'll tell you what I know, and you'll be the judge, says the lieutenant. How long did it take you to get here from the city? On a decent palfrey, I'd guess it would be 3-4 days. When you confirm, she continues. From here, you can reach the coast in about a day, as long as you don't make any stops. Do you know the situation? Why no ships can get here? You nod. The sea route allows Pavlovan officials to keep in touch with the coastal villages, collect taxes, move the soldiers, collect lumber, deliver tools. But maintaining order on a wild coast, such as this one, is like filling the ocean depths with coins. Because of the rocks, you can hardly stop a ship 5 miles from the shore, and boats can't get much closer. She nods. I don't know much about fishing, but there's not that many people living by the shore, and they don't crave to stay in touch with the city folk. As she pauses, her companion carries on. No soul from the north ever came to the camp, but when we travel to the roadside inn, Pelt of the North, they're happy to trade and to play dice. Why not just stay at one of the settlements? The man clears his throat. I mean, we're to guard this road. This camp is our post. And, well, he turns towards Tulia. She lowers her voice. Don't take it the wrong way, Dane, but are you a devout soul? Uh-oh. Already getting into it. So, my options. United Church. Like most city folk, I believe that people should unite their strength to overcome the threats of nature and dark magic. Everyone will be judged for both good and evil deeds. I'm a part of the United Church. For many years, I've supported a monastery that does its best to offer mankind spiritual growth, artistry, herbalism, and magical research. Follow the teachings of an order of truth. Oh, let's see. Freedom of shell, pneuma, and soul are the main virtues of life. I have a place in my fellowship. Strong connection to nature and spirits, and to follow the path of my ancestors. Some of my beliefs may be considered sinister and treacherous by the city folk. Probably call me a pagan. There's no evidence of the right's existence, and all the mystical tales are explained by magic. No, I'm not. I'm curious. We're not going to follow any religious teaching. The man nods. I heard that most Roadwardens drift away from the churches. It doesn't matter to me, to neither of us, I think, as Lieutenant, peeping at her companion. I just wanted to make sure I won't step on any touchy subject. You won't. Go ahead. The people here are disquieting. Every few words, she taps the table with her finger. Their traditions won't help them negotiate with officials. Here, she starts to draw lines with her index finger, as if she's pointing at an invisible map. The peninsula is connected with roads, like a big circle. In the northwest, you'll find a weird village on a bog. It's not exactly pagan, I don't think. It even has a priest who claims to be an eremite. You nod. She means a fellowship. They do crazy shit, her companion chips in. They use the dead to cut down trees and dig in soil. Once I saw it, I begged to never return there. I see. You've heard tales such as this one since you were a child. If an isolated settlement manages to survive without a city's influence, its customs and traditions grow more and more alien. Every generation learns how to adapt to the dangerous conditions they have to deal with, and the rustic pagan traditions muddy their river of faith. The United Church often warns its members about the crazy druids, necromancers, and blood mages, the bringers of doom, the traitors to humankind. Were you able to speak with these necromancers? You can see why we were not eager to go there if we could avoid it, the lieutenant chuckles. Maybe they'll be more welcoming to a road warden. The roads are dangerous, with little to no settlers. People need your help. The man in the shirt turns a bit and points a finger to the northwest. If you're heading to the undead village, you'll get to an inn first, and soon. Tulia nods. Pelt of the North is a safe place. You can talk with the innkeeper or the guards and ask them about the road. Let's see. Any monster worth mentioning? Anything that could catch my mount? We saw all sorts of beasts, the man starts to count on his fingers. Goblins, treants, cats large and small, runners, howlers, wolves, spiked boars, mouflon eaters, griffins, but we managed to stay away. Some could catch up with most mounts, Tilly glances at her companion. The palfrey should be fine. The trees are so tall that the flying creatures keep to the coasts and mountains. There's not that many humans around, and the animals are busy fighting among themselves. They fight more for food than territory. The soldier cracks his knuckles. Don't provoke them, and ride fast. Just count on luck. And how about the east? She stares off across the camp. Hard to tell. We went there only once. There are hills, forests, rivers. We saw a tunnel sculpted in leaves and branches, but we didn't enter it. Wilderness all around. That's all I need to know. Any ideas on what happened to the previous Roadwarden? Tulia takes a deep breath. Aren't you a bit late for a rescue mission? We haven't heard from him for almost half a year. The soldiers speak for a bit between themselves, trying to get their story straight. They confirm that he had stopped by their camp a few times, but stopped showing up at all in early summer. The bearded soldier starts to scratch the table with the tip of his knife without looking at you. I don't remember his voice. Always busy, drowning in things to take care of. He would sit somewhere, sharpen his sword, fix his loud mail, clean clothes, write notes on that wax tablet of his. Yep, and leave at dawn. Unlike us, Asterion never gets bored. Tulia lets out a joyless chuckle. He's secretive, but some of the locals speak about him warmly. Maybe he just doesn't like us. Sounds like you're not sure if he's dead or not. If anyone knows, they won't tell us. Maybe someone is keeping him in a basement. The man carves with passion. We haven't seen him, or his saurian. Something ate them, I bet. The officials have hired you, right? They don't expect him to return. Richer roadwardens often use four-legged, meat-eating saurians as their mounts. They have to be tamed and trained since they're hatching, but, unlike horses, can easily defend themselves from many monsters. At least your palfrey is fast and reliable, and won't suddenly sink its teeth into an innocent passerby. Do you know what he was looking for? Maybe he left you a message? Neither one of us had any insight into his dealings, said Tulia. My predecessor left me no clues. We also took a look at Asterian's stuff. Wait! She raises her open palm. I almost forgot. She stands up and heads to a nearby tent. He has kids. In a village near Havlavan. I was planning to take all his things there. A pouch, a second spear, a decent bow, some potions. Quite a treasure. She glances at you. But I would much prefer to bring the truth about their father. So you want me to find out what happened to him in exchange for his stuff? Here's the catch. She dusts off the hilt of her sword. We've hired a messenger to ask the commanders for further orders. Since she hasn't returned and you know nothing about her, she either ran away or something happened to her. She sighs with resignation. We are meant to stay here until fall. What do you think? Come see us, tell us what you've learned about the man, and we'll get back to Havlavan together? You think about your real mission. You were planning to return to Havlavan in the early fall anyway. If he's alive, I don't think he's going to be happy about me taking away all of his possessions. True, but he's considered dead. I doubt he'd begrudge you anything, and who knows, you may just find his shell laying on the roadside tomorrow. He wears mail, uses a spear mostly, maybe 5 feet tall, but stout. Long red beard, short hair, pale face, rarely smiles. She glances at her companion, but after he adds nothing, she sits down and stretches out her legs. So find out what happened to him. Dead, alive, left, just let me know. If you were me, where would you go next? The soldier answers quickly. To the inn, of course. He grabs his empty mug. The one northwest from here. If you can't afford the room, the main hall is free of charge. The locals rarely gather there. The northern road is much more traveled, mentions Tulia. But the hunters will tell you about this and that, and you'll have a chance to introduce yourself. The innkeeper can listen and knows many souls. Any tips on how I can make a good first impression on him? She smirks. Avoid cheap jokes, stick to trade, don't waste his time. Show him that you can be relied on. Alright. I know everything I need. Are you sure? Says the bearded man. We may not be around the next time you come here. I guess I'll ask the other questions. Why not? What happened to your squad? The man shrugs. Bandits happened. And monsters. A strong band, though, his companion chips in. When we got to the peninsula in spring, we saw some people living in this camp. The lieutenant decided to avoid it and look for an inn. We had to travel through the night for a bit. The bearded soldier scoffs and crosses his arms, but she carries on. If he had decided otherwise, we would all have died that day. The innkeeper explained that the camp is a trap, that the armed ones pretend to be soldiers. Stay there at night, lose everything you have. Sounds like slave hunters. Tulia sighs. Very much so. They killed some and took others away. Who knows where. They were letting the northerners go, hoping to avoid their wrath. It kind of worked, adds the soldier. We asked them for help, but they refused. We had to clear the entire camp on our own, and that's why 3 of our people died. Don't exaggerate. It sounded like the lieutenant didn't make a mistake. He wanted to get rid of them and take over their camp, but we didn't know our enemy well enough. We were outnumbered, and they had an ice mage among them. She looks at you. At least we cleared the road, saved lives. You mentioned monsters as well? Nothing that would surprise you. Those of us who survived the skirmish were young, too inexperienced to spend a summer in this place without a good leader, and they didn't trust me. One of them got caught by a treant. Another one ignored my orders to perform some sort of a ritual hunt, so a werebear tore her to pieces. The last one tried to act tough. Didn't tell us that he had cut his hand while cleaning his gambeson. She lets out a ghastly chuckle. We had to cut it off, and he was so ashamed that he decided to walk north to find a new life, disappear. Idiot. What a colorful journey. The man tries to drink from his mug, but it's empty. You've made this place safer. Barely. Julia seems tired, and who knows if it was worth the lives and effort. Tulia, how did you become a lieutenant? That's not much of a story, honestly. She looks at her hand, which is currently rolling a mug over the table. In the city, there's a strict order of... what should I call it? She exchanges look with her companion, but he can't help her. Well, leadership succession, I guess. Halavan chief selects commanders, those select lieutenants, and those put their soldiers in order of priority. If lieutenant dies, they get replaced by the next soldier in line. So, you were his successor? Nah, not exactly. When we fought the bandits, our lieutenant was hit by a slingshot. His boyfriend jumped to help him, but failed to protect either of them from a spell. It was like a ball of ice that hung above them and exploded, piercing their heads, completely avoiding their shield. Really unpleasant. She pauses. And you were the third one in line, is that right? Basically, yeah, she says without enthusiasm. I didn't plan to become a leader, though. I'll get demoted once we return to the city. I prefer to follow anyway. It's getting late. We should prepare for the night. I agree, Tulia sighs with relief. And may you do better than Asterion did. Stay vigilant. She winks at you, shattering the mask of a soldier. Thank you for your help. You go to the barrel and splash water in your face, which makes you even more aware of how much you need a bath. After the night, it will only get worse. Your horse is already napping, still too anxious to lay down. I prepare for my watch. Okay. So we've added appearance. Okay. The soldier in the shirt is eager to guide you. Just observe the area. There's plenty of griffins around, though they won't try to jump over the palisade. Probably. Better watch out for the apes. They climb up and carry out any food they can find. And there's this one really loud were-elk that keeps smelling the wall, though it has never tried to get in. He points at a gate. The lieutenant and I will block the entrances. They're quite heavy, so if anyone comes here looking for shelter, better call us to help you out. And if this someone is being chased by wolves or anything, better throw them the rope instead. He scratches his head. If it gets cold, feel free to make a fire. And the best place is on the watchtower. You may want to put a blanket there or something. The watchtower? He gives you a long puzzled look. Oh, here. He points at the pile of crates. Just climb up to the tallest one. You'll have a great view at the northern side, the more dangerous side. And also, I know you're tired after all that riding. He points to the tent on the other side of the camp. I can handle a couple of hours of sleeping on the ground. If you wish, go there after me and rest. Just this once. At least I have a pallet inside. I smile. Thanks a lot. You put your blanket on the tallest crate and sit down. The night is warm, but the sporadic summer breeze brings gentle refreshment. From time to time your back aches, and you have to force yourself to keep your eyes open. The light of the moon helps you focus on the tall grasses. For most of the time, you spot smaller critters and birds, but there are exceptions. At one point you see 3-horned deer trying to challenge one another. Before they clash their antlers, a 2-legged dragonling appears, leading its much smaller offspring. The furry beasts try to intimidate the predators with roars and aggressive head movements. After a few moments, both sides walk away slowly, not willing to risk the fight, nor to admit their defeat. I don't let it distract me. I keep looking around. You hear the death screams of distant prey and the mating calls of monkeys. Runners are chasing a gray hare. A group of musk oxen lazily chew the grass, preparing themselves to sleep. A dusk fox is running together with a lynx, making playful screeches. Thankfully, you never have to intervene. You just sit there, watching the not-so-distant forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Once you feel you've had enough, you climb down and go to a tent, waking up the bearded man with just a couple of words. You confirm that nothing important has happened. Hi, Waterseer. I gather my things and squeeze into the tent. I use my bag as a pillow, put my blanket on the pallet, and cover myself with my cloak. Sleeping in a tent is not the stuff of dreams, but it's a much welcomed rest. The pallet keeps the cold soil away. The moonlight saves the outside world from the eerie gloom. You listen to your own breath and find a comfortable position. Your job starts tomorrow. I focus on the real goal of my journey. The Merchant Guild wants to take care of this realm. Your wardening duties are secondary. First and foremost, you need to explore the peninsula, learn about the territory, resources, and threats, get to know the locals, and, if you can, convince them to consider negotiations with Havlavan officials and traders. Could the tribes resist the soldiers, or be a threat to the priests of the United Church? Are there any forbidden practices that need to be eradicated, such as blood magic, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? At least I have time. 40 days to be exact. I need to be as thorough as I can. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should speak with Tulia and return to Havlavan. There you'll report back to your employers and get your reward. In the meantime, you have your own goal to pursue. Ooh, okay, so now it's a personal quest. Alright, gathering extra coins so I can save my siblings from debt collectors. Extra coins so I retire early and live in prosperity and safety. Gather enough connections among the local leaders. I'll use them to become a major player in the Merchant Guild. Let's see. I want to be remembered as the soul who brought peace and order to this realm, the hero. I just want to help people, make this region safer for the locals and the newcomers alike. I need to find a new life for myself. I have a difficult past and I want it to be forgotten. I mean, get some extra coins, retire early, and live in prosperity and safety. That doesn't sound too bad, does it? Your half-asleep senses are catching the sounds of the wild forest. Your instincts keep you alert and anxious, though the pleasant, humid, late summer air evens it out slowly. You can't travel during the night, press sleep and rest. You're thinking about your goal, but you need to gather your strength. All I can do now is rest. Sleeping in a tent. You can spend the night in a borrowed tent. It's nothing special, but it will protect you from the wind and rain, and the ground won't be painfully hard nor cold. Okay, so I would lose 1 slot of hunger and 1 appearance. So I'd just be dirtier and I wouldn't actually gain anything. Don't need to eat now. Okay. I guess I don't get to alter that anyway, but you're woken up by sunlight, well rested and ready. Without haste, you gather your things. After only a couple of breaths, you notice a weird smell, like a roast. No burning meat. No burning meat. Burning, rotten meat. Disgust crawls into your consciousness. You exit the tent. Your horse is looking around nervously. Your bags are where you had left them. You see an open gate. I go outside to see what's happening. Both soldiers are standing near a humble pyre. The man in the shirt looks at it I can never say that word. Contemplatively. Contemplatively. Tulia is the first one to address you. Dane, she greets you with a nod. We use the horse's manure for the flames, so don't worry about cleaning it up. You see a corpse among the flames. It's impossible to tell if it belongs to a male or a female, but it was an adult. The burning process won't be over for a couple more hours. A traveler or an undead? The latter. A young one. She lacked the pneuma to understand that she couldn't get inside the camp without climbing. I stabbed her with a spear from a safe distance. She shifts her weight. One more fog, and she'd be a real threat. Even now, it took a couple of hits to knock her down. Sooner or later, every human shell wakes up, gaining more strength with each soul it devours, and each moment it spends in the fogs. Burning the dead is not just a religious practice, it's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even road wardens. Making a large pyre takes a lot of time, but it saves lives. Tule calls this undead a she. Most Unites hesitate to do so. Time for me to leave. Running away from the reek, huh? I don't blame you. She walks with you for a few steps. Find us here if you need us, or if you learn what happened to Assyrian. There's enough ground here for you to rest. Safe travels. These words make you stop. An old farewell, mocked in a number of songs and tales, but you hear no scorn in Tulia's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you're going to experience in the days to follow. She returns to the pyre. I prepare myself for the journey. You somehow miss the fact that your mount is already saddled and warmed up. You double check the equipment, but you don't need to fix anything. The soldiers were diligent. Normally, preparing any palfrey for a long journey takes a lot of time. You put on your gambeson and make sure that your axe is tightly attached to your belt, then get in the saddle. The palfrey knickers, ready to leave. It's time for you to get to the crossroads, north from here. Okay, little map. Tulia's camp. Okay, travel north. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet. Yeah, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. What do they call it? Interactive fiction, basically. It's. I think it's a little bit more rigid story wise. There's of course, like side quest type stuff, but it's yeah, it's you can fail. I'm assuming. The there's like different difficulties. I chose just standard, which limits you to 40 days. So I assume you can speed things up, slow things down, and actually fail things based on time. So, I mean, see how it actually turns out. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travelers in the valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. You soon find the pack of four-legged griffins. They're larger than foxes, and merge the features of birds and furred beasts. Each one is of a different size, coat, and colors, and their temperaments are just as varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers, and while their rears have darker fur, their wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they're too heavy to fly. About 24 beasts are yelling, brawling, and chasing each other around, blocking your path. I consider my options. You can't enter the forest blindly. If these or other creatures were to chase after you, the thicket would be disastrous for your horse. There are reasons why travelers stay as close to the main roads as possible, and why adventurers move in groups. Usually the safest approach would be to stay where you are and just wait for the pack to get hungry. It may, however, take up to a couple hours. You're thinking about your conversation with Tulia. You've got a lot to do, and time may be of the essence. If you have any vitality points, you can use the warrior's training to access unique interactions. Alright, I take my axe and hurry the horse. If we ride fast enough, we should be fine. I should stay here, better safe than sorry. Yeah, and there's like dice rolls too. So, like, you can randomly succeed and fail. So, because I'm a fighter... Oh, maybe that's just use force. See if we can just go past them. Initially, your horse completely trusts your guidance, though after a few more steps it snorts. You prepare your axe and get ready to push away any griffin willing to jump on you. Once you get in the middle of this surprised herd, your mount squeals and gallops forward. The creatures in front of you flee, but others try to jump at you from both sides. You kick 2 of them away, but the third one scratches your leg. It hurts, though only a bit. You ride away, and the griffins can't keep up. You still hear their screeches when your mount slows down. Once I get to a safer spot, I stop to clean and bandage my wound. So I'm pretty sure I had 3, so I lost the vitality. The road splits. According to what the soldiers have told you, you may find a safe inn by turning left. The forest to the right is lush, and the trail is overgrown. Kids used to have this song. How did it go? The harshest pathway leads to the dragon's lair. Those who search for treasure, do you truly dare? The signpost in front of you doesn't make your situation much clearer. It was put here by someone who can't write, for folks who can't read, covered in old red paint. It points east. Blood there, as people say, danger to be found. There's not a soul to ask for guidance. I look at my horse. Oh, what's my horse's name? Come on, Water Seer, what's my horse's name? Just horse. Hoss. Okay, we'll go Haas. Haas. Haas is peaceful as you stroke its mane. Maybe it can't help you choose a path, but you've spent many years together. Happy to go on, it takes a couple of steps forward. You spot a few berry shrubs and wild cabbages, but they still need at least 2 weeks to gain maturity. Alright. Let's go to the east. No. I don't want to go through the forest yet. Let's go west. Haas trots with ease, unbothered by the few branches covering the beaten road. The bird songs and distant howls draw your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot boars, roe deer, and saurians. The sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you, but once you push your hips forward and your palfrey enters a canter, the beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone will protect you from many dangers. You notice a stone tower, taller than the trees. I hope not. It better not. Why have you done this? It must be the inn I've heard about. Inns like this one fit the regions traveled by merchants. But you wouldn't expect a place of this size in a forsaken peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away, and the workers, guarded by expensive mercenaries, surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. There are seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide, if not in the buildings, then at least in the yard. The expenses and labor put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. 3 armed people are on their ramparts, though you only see what's above their waistline. They're leaning on the parapet, right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gambesons, each one of them dyed differently, yellow, green, and linen gray. I approach the gate. A woman in yellow armor leans forward. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair, pointing in every possible direction. This combination of colors doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I hadn't seen a horse for years now. I just said that it's weird to see such a large jackass, huh? Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villages spread around Hovlevan. But no jackass would wear a saddle, I'd say. She exchanges a few words with a male guard wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, this one here says there really are donkey saddles. Say, traveler, how hard is it to ride a horse? Alright. Let's try playful. Joke or witty comment. I laugh. You wouldn't believe it. The lessons were a pain. You get off your horse and imitate the silly walk from the day that followed your first long journey, when your whole shell was crying. You illustrate the pain as you move your hand from your back to your hips, then thighs. In return, the guards tell you about that time when they had to carry their friend with bitten off legs for 3 days straight through the heart of the woods. Meanwhile, the other guards open the gate. The Ministry of Silly Walks. You may be in a good mood. The woman in the yellow jacket smiles at you. But don't get so noisy when you talk to our boss. The man never smiles. He has the world's suffering sculpted on his face. She leads you under the roof, under which your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post, near some old hay. Once you're ready, go inside, speak with our boss. Maybe you're hungry? The other guards take care of various chores. They peek at your mount every now and then as they're splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches, and moving chairs. Two of them are making a rope. You head toward the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of the yard. I open the door. If you're in an inn in the morning, you can spend the entire day on resting. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall and heads behind the counter. You're lucky to show up. His voice is deep and soft, with a city-like accent. He observes you with keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I have a keg of decent ale, wormwood, bog myrtle, juniper berries, cat's foot. He fills a mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon, today maybe, and we don't drink here before the even. I hate to see the good stuff going to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even among the southern tribes, and his hair is naturally bluish. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labor. The elegant tunic wouldn't stand out in the city square. I stand at the counter. The planks let out a creak after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper made little to no noise. Here you go. He pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my pelt of the north doesn't belong to Havlavan. You can sleep on the floor if you wish so, but if you want a bed or a meal, you have to pay. We may have some leftovers from dinner, but I'd need to check. Probably friendly or distanced. Just keep the friendly. They don't seem too bad. No, I don't like that. Let's do. I won't stay here for long. I introduce myself. He nods and fills another mug, this time with water. I guess there's no point in waiting for Asterion then. I'm glad to see someone taking his place. Even my crew here hits the road only if they need to see the healers of Howler's Dell, and they're more than resourceful. A Roadwarden is always going to find work here in the north, though maybe not on the eastern road. He takes a mouthful of water and drinks it with a pleased sigh. There are no guests here at this time, or hardly ever. I can take a short break. For a brief moment, he meets your eyes. I drink the ale. The dark room and wooden walls of the mug make the liquid look as brown as a chestnut. The lee? I've seen that word before. The lee in spring hits your nose, and the first sip is even too complex, too flowery. While the brewer has used fancy ingredients, the exotic licorice ruins the aftertaste. Now you know why there's so much left. Maybe it takes an acquired taste. The innkeeper nods. I was hoping to see someone willing to patrol the roads. Maybe you'll help me with a worrying thought I have? Which is? There are brigands in the woods. Our place is a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike. But they've gotten more active in the last 2 years. One day, they may steal our furs. And I have no doubt they're the reason why merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Haller's Den, northwest from here. It's the largest settlement around. I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Thias, the mayor, about Glacia, that bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumors about a raid in the north. If Glacia is ready to break the truce with the locals, I'm willing to join forces with them to get rid of her band. He looks at a nearby dragon bone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have a chance. A couple of days won't make much of a difference. I'll pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news. Fine? 3. He nods with a smile. What else do you need? Oh, let's see. I'm looking for Asterion, the previous Roadwarden. Are you now? He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be of much help. He rests his elbow on the tabletop and grunts quietly to clear his throat. But I do want you to find him, so... When asked about his intentions, he measures his words. Asterion and I made a risky deal. Well, a very promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins, my half of the investment. He knocks on the table with a fist, anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened to the guy, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed about bringing me the news. Could it be that Asterion stole the coins and ran away? He looks at a window and starts to play with a stutter. Or shutter. I just think Astarion ain't the kind of soul that would do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I'd risk saying he had earned my trust. Not only mine, you know. It's easy for a Roadwarden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb, as if trying to clean an invisible stain. I've asked travelers. I've sent a couple of my pals to find him. No real news. I know he stayed in White Marshes for a day, and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach the bogs, then enter them. You may get there before dusk. So, let me know once you find anything, and we may yet return to this whole investment thing. I'll think about it. He nods. What else do you need? I didn't expect to find an inn of this size in a place such as this. Ah, so you know a thing or two after all. His mocking tone is soon replaced by a gentle smile. It was built long before we arrived. It didn't work out well for the previous owners. Once the war ended, they left. Not enough travelers, bad trade, the villages stick to themselves. We, however, came prepared, and now we're prospering. When you ask him how they can afford all the supplies, he runs his fingers through his dark hair. I'm not against running an inn, but we don't rely on guests. We're the ones doing all the trading. My hunters are a clever bunch and stay safe in the forest. In exchange for furs, claws, and bones, we get what we need, and more, both from the south and the north. He relaxes in his chair. We have a good life here. We spent a whole lot on armor, crossbows, lumber, spears, but in another 10, maybe 20 years, we'll have enough savings to move to Havlavan and not work for another day of our lives. We take risks, but smartly. The team is stronger than ever, and I have big plans for us. Is there a good story behind the inn's name? I mean, there's a story, but not a good one. He clears his throat. For years I wanted to have an inn called Pelt, but in my city it would be in bad taste. Taverns and inns named with a single word were cheap, and had a nasty reputation. There was the Claw, and Mugger, Basilisk, and Blissful, I think. The good names used at least 2 words: Empty Barrel, a rose in a helmet, Empress Smile. Pighead was the exception. It was a real dive, he chuckles. In my soul, it's still just a pelt. Pelts are what we came here for, and will make us reach our goals. It's surprising to find a purple-skinned man so far in the north. I ain't seen a soul looking like this since my ma died. He shrugs. It's not a fascinating tale. Let's just say I wasn't a part of the invasion. Yet I'm glad it freed all those who were chained by their cities and their corsairs. He looks at the wall. I guess that's an I? Iason? Could be. Yeah, what? I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. I'm Iason, by the way, but I rarely hear the name. I return to my other questions. Let's see. What can you tell me about the peninsula? What could anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name, unless there's an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know what I'd call it? Everything from here to the coast? The hunting ground. He glances at your eyes. But it's not us who hunt. Keep that in heart. But the beasts in all shapes and forms. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I've lived in this inn for over 10 years now, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just, once you get here and you see how harsh it is to hit the road, you have only more reasons to stay at the warm stove behind a wall, even if it's suffocating. He looks towards the windows. I'm sure you've heard a lot already, that the people don't build hamlets anymore. There are no more ibexes from the south, and the traders stay for only a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. Are the eastern roads as rough as I've heard? Pretty much. Don't leave the main road, I'd say. Not so far from here you'll find an old dolmen. A few of my people had to spend a night there, and monkeys stole food and gods from their bags. It was their fault. One of them had fallen asleep in the middle of his watch. But you know. The eastern forests are wild. The roads are rough. Almost no soul lives there. One day all these roads will be swallowed by the trees again. The furthest my team has ever gone was the home of the Enchantress. Just stay on track until you reach the crossroads, right near an abandoned watchtower. From there, turn east. You'll recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lonely meadow, surrounded by a wall. He looks toward the closed window, then at you again. Kind of like our walls, but simpler, without coating. She lives as a hermit. Eudosha. I don't even know how she survives there, but if you don't have decent coin, you won't find much there. So, back to the crossroads. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. People stay away from it. It connects the tower and the monastery, a shortcut between the two sides of the peninsula. I was warned by the locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. What will I find traveling west? Well, there are hills nearby. Then you'll find a village, maybe an hour away from here. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago. Nothing to see there. The goblins live there now, so most people just travel around it, and they say it's haunted. But who knows? Who cares? He crosses his arms and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. You'll get to a large tree on the edge of a swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. You're not used to hearing someone mention pagans as if there's nothing unusual about them. There's a small path south, which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there. But keep riding north, and you'll find Howler's Dell, set at a clean brook. Farmers live there, and Mofflins and Druids. They'll let you stay for a night, but they're not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, it means they ain't been to the Ape Ale Inn yet. He lets out a gentle smile. I smile politely. I know only a bit about the next settlement, Old Pagos. The soil there ain't too fertile, and they work in their quarry and help other settlements build things in exchange for crops. The forests and hills ain't too harsh, but the Seekers have a small monastery nearby in the mountains. I don't care much about them. They keep to themselves, and they don't pay well. The third village is unknown to me. White marshes, set at the bogs. I've heard it smells like a griffin's lair. I've heard a lot of nasty rumors about the place, but I won't share them. I don't want to be a lie spreader. So, 3 villages, really. Howler's, the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, and Marshes. Don't let their beds and palisades fool you, though. Weird people live there. Don't tell them more than you need to. You wonder if it's something he would tell other travelers as well. Have you ever been to the northern coast? I only know about another inn. It's far from here, maybe a day on foot, a bit less than from the eastern side. His eyes once again focus on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place, close to villages of farmers and hunters, though I don't know much about them. That's all I need. I think that's a good spot before we try to eat or leave from here. Wow, that actually took a while. Quick save. Okay. How do I hard save? Hang on. Okay. All right. I actually really dig the music too. It's nice background. I know it's probably kind of quiet for you guys, but anyway, yeah, I'm gonna come back to this. I kind of like the. You can't hear it at all. It's just really light. That's that. But yeah, it's just a nice. Yeah, it's just nice background. I think the like starting menu was a little bit more upbeat, but yeah, I'm gonna come back to this tomorrow. I know it's like not actiony or anything, but I like the story presentation of it. So anyway, 5 p.m. Central tomorrow, we're gonna come back to some Roadwarden, and we'll see where I fail, I guess. All right. Thank you for hanging out, Waterseer, and anyone else lurking, and see you tomorrow.